Hello, everybody. This is Deep Impact. Today's topic of discussion is corruption, and let us discuss and try to understand if today's words will have enough impact or not. Hello, sir. Welcome to today's talk. So, as you know, we are going to discuss about a topic, or let's say a problem that looks perpetual and non-solvable at the outset. My simple question is this: I'm not going to talk to you about why corruption happens, these kind of things. I'm asking you a very straight, simple question first. Why does corruption look like a problem that is perpetual and non-solvable?
First of all, I think people have this penchant for speaking about corruption.
Okay.
Because I think that is one universal issue. And if you have no other issue, you just speak about corruption.
Are you saying we're doing that today?
Knowing very well that corruption is a problem world over. It's been there from time immemorial. And it's going to be there forever. It's there, it's ubiquitous. It's literally seen in every part of human existence, in every part of the world. There's this beautiful story. There was this minister, I believe, maybe it was a fictional story, but this minister who was very, very corrupt. And the king wanted to punish him. So what did he say? He said, I will give you a chair, but because you're a minister, you'll be given a good chair, but you'll have to just sit on the seashore and count the waves. That's your punishment. So that you will do nothing. So at least not doing anything, you would be stopped from indulging in corruption. So the fellow accepts the punishment and sits on the seashore from morning to evening, counting the waves. And after some time, they find out he's making more money than everybody else in the kingdom. So the king investigates. So the simple thing is that this guy sitting there is counting the waves. And every morning, the fishermen with their boats plan to cross. And this fellow says, stop it, because it's king's order to count the waves. You're going to disrupt the waves. So you pay me money if you have to actually cross. So literally everybody pays him money. And they cross. You understand?
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to be corrupt, they will be corrupt no matter what. Because I think that corruption is taught to everybody from the time that they're very young. Like we say, even blackmailing, playing emotional games, even with parents, like, you show your tantrums. All these are corrupt activities, because we don't believe in straightforward business. Straightforward business, like a child is, very good, well-behaved, doesn't want to trouble the parents. The parents ignore the child. The child is very cantankerous, he is mischievous, he is always troubling parents. I'm sure that the parents want to pay more attention to that child. So the child also realizes that the more he or she plays with the emotions of the parent, uses devious methods, it gets the job done. And people want to find easier ways to get jobs done. You understand? Nobody wants it done the hard way. Or you, go to get a job done in a government office. Either you want to use influence, which you think is not corruption, but actually is corruption, because you're using something that the other people don't have the advantage of.
But it's simple. The work does not happen in the straight sense. And the government official, or anybody for that matter, referring to them as government official might offend them in some manner. But the person sitting right there, he will not get your work done unless you put some kind of a pressure on him.
See, it's understandable that though we expect a government servant is not somebody who is doing menial labor, somebody who is in service, somebody who is offering service, the government service. He's there to serve the people. And he's expected to do the job for everyone the same way. It is humanly impossible for him to treat everybody the same way. And the thing is that he believes that some people can wait longer, some people can suffer, and with some people he cannot take, the risks, even otherwise kind of a thing. So some people, what they do is that they also facilitate corruption. Some people may not just wait for monetary gains, but they may perhaps, do it because in the future it's a good association. They can get some kind of influence. they can get somebody to facilitate a transfer, a better position, something. So, but the most tragic thing about India is that we only look at monetary corruption
Okay.
or material gains. But if you look at corruption per se, there is corruption that is all over, in every field, even in private sector. Very scary. You got it.
In the
If you
corporate
do anything that is not done in the regular sense to a person who doesn't have the advantage of influencing you to do it, out of the way.
Right.
You understand? That, is corruption.
So,
Because we only look at corruption when it comes to somebody making money through illegal means. But that way, even winning a lottery, because you can't explain luck, you have to call God unfair. Luck itself, unfair.
right.
That's a corruption of the very existence. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I think that corruption perhaps is a problem only when somebody does something to somebody at the cost of someone else. At the cost of someone else's good. At the cost of somebody else's natural right to it.
All right.
If you are causing harm, in contradiction to the goals and the purpose of your job, then I think it's corruption. Otherwise, I think it's just misdemeanor.
So I'll come to that.
See, for instance, I've actually studied a few politicians also, whether they are actually corrupt. There are some politicians who have had very clean, sway in their departments.
Okay.
Without a single blot.
Okay.
But they made a lot of money. To say that they actually profited by causing disadvantage to somebody else, or perhaps by looting the money that's supposed to go to the welfare of the people, would be a little lopsided argument, because a lot of people would have made money in some other ways too. For example, if you're powerful, some people will want to do business with you, will want your favor, will want to. Nobody expects a politician to be poor. I think that is absolutely illogical.
So that means to maintain the stature, he has to be corrupt?
Not stature, because, I think the very idea of intelligence is also, for example, somebody intelligent will get a better job, somebody who is not. Somebody doesn't opt to be not intelligent.
Okay.
So that is the very corruption in the nature of things.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
How can somebody be paid 1 lakh rupees salary a month? Somebody else is paid just 5,000 rupees. How come somebody gets a package of, 10 crores a year? Somebody can't even get a package of, 1 lakh a year.
Yeah.
I mean, is it somebody's mistake because he's born into a disadvantage? You understand? So, when you say that, is it, what did you say?
Is it non-solvable at the end of the day?
No. I'm saying that
maintain the stature.
No, is it to maintain the stature? See, there is nothing wrong in people wanting to live well.
Okay.
You understand?
Are you justifying corruption?
No, I'm not. I'm not come to that yet. It is not you. Why do you expect a politician to be poor? If a person is a poor politician, what can you expect him to do? For example, you want a politician who can move fast in his swanky car. Perhaps, he should have some money to take care of himself.
Right.
He should be able to. You want your leader to look better. I'm sure a lot of people like Mr. Modi dressing up well. Correct? You don't want the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
You had, I'm sure, like one of the best Prime Ministers that we have had, that's Mr. Devegowda, who wore a panche and a Ragi Mudde or whatever. That's absolutely all right. But I think people also change when you want your leader to be like you or better than you. But it's not your mistake. Sometimes you also want somebody like Yogi Adityanath, who is not even wearing suit or boots. You understand? So, but there is nothing wrong in a politician living a decent life. Okay, as long as he is not looting people's money. If he furthers his business, if he is making money by legal means or with a little bit of favor, because some people want to be his friends and want to do business with him. If you start looking at that as corruption, that's the kind of corruption you can't remove.
So
The kind of corruption that you have to is that if you keep tarring the same road 5 times a year and ensure that you tar it in such a way that it just comes off and you're causing loss to the exchequer, that is looting. That is punishable. You understand? But if I favor a friend, when somebody else can also do it, okay, but that's misdemeanor. I'm not saying that's corruption, but that's bad behavior. You understand? He profits, but it's not at the expense of, if I know that, somebody does it well. See, many people may not be able to, defend my arguments because they may say, but I've seen this. I've seen this with a lot of people who perhaps with such a sense of rectitude, who don't want to take a bad name, sometimes don't do anything at all. Do you want somebody who doesn't do anything at all for the fear of being caught, for the fear of being labeled as corrupt, or for the fear of actually bringing a bad name to himself? Or do you want somebody who perhaps will do 90 things that are good and 10 things perhaps that are not very regular?
But still, isn't that misuse of public position or a public authority?
Yeah, that's actually true. But in the sense, I'm sure that people also understand to an extent, because that kind of corruption is something that's been keeping a lot of people in power. Because the people are not against such things about somebody making some property for himself. And they all know that a lot of these politicians borrow money during election. A lot of people spend a lot of money and give it to people.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want their politicians, their leaders to be poor.
I'll just put it straight.
I'm saying I have seen a lot of politicians who have not had the money to fight elections, literally crying on the day of the election because they start cursing themselves that they should have made some money. You understand? Because people also don't believe.
Yeah.
They say, he's just, doing a drama. He has made a lot of money, he has kept it somewhere else. You understand? So I am not saying that if you can legally make money, or if at all you're not harming anybody, you're not doing it at the expense of somebody else, if you're not looting the exchequer, you are not doing it at the cost of development, if you are not misusing your power, okay, to overly favor somebody who may actually cause loss or do damage, or maybe whatever he does is not in the interest of the state. Because I think there was this once the senior officer who was actually very well known for being very clean. Somebody who had such a squeaky clean record was telling me that he was he was a secretary in a certain department, and he had actually advised the minister, look, in your department, a certain amount will come to you no matter what, even if you don't want it. You got it? Because if they don't give it to you, they're going to give it to someone else. If the minister doesn't take it, they would have factored that money into the expenses. And they would give it to anybody anyway. If you don't take it, it'll go to some officer's pocket or some other stooge or some facilitator or some broker or somebody else. So you take it. But if you start, making money more than what you naturally get, then you perhaps have to be beheaded.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So in the process of trying to get confused totally about corruption, I think we are not punishing the real corrupt ones.
Right.
Which is happening every day, all over. I've seen a road close to my house, which has been asphalted maybe for the 6th time in the past 1 year. It makes your blood boil, because you know very well that you see all over the world that people have roads not just in India. People have had roads, everywhere. And in some of the northern countries, particularly in northern European countries, even snow sits on the road for a very long time and it thaws the road. Still the roads are fine after the winter is gone.
Right.
There are places where it rains like mad. Even there are places in Africa where the roads are good. But here, like one rain, and everybody, including the people, they don't want to blame the politicians. They want to blame the road. They want to blame perhaps the tar. They want to perhaps this thing. What do you say? Blame Mother Earth because she produced such poor quality petrochemicals. You understand? But they won't blame the politician. I was speaking to a particular family in a particular area, like far away from here, and they would say, why are the roads so bad? So they said, oh, because of the rains, the roads get, worse, and full of potholes. So why don't you buy a better car then? Okay, then why don't you have electricity in the nights, That's why people, in the olden days, people said you have to sleep early. If you have such people like literally spineless, people want to give justification, I'm sure there will be more of such corruption. But we always look at most of the corruption, allegations are against people who perhaps have made a lot of money,
Right.
which looks a little unjustified. That could happen even with a software company owner who has got perhaps land at a throwaway price and has built a multi-billion-dollar company. That is also irregular.
Yeah.
Or you build a company by taking a lot of favors, you get a lot of tax exemption, and you don't give jobs to people of the state. That's also corrupt practice. You understand? But only because normally corrupt politicians don't defend themselves. They would rather keep quiet, whether they made money right or wrong, whatever it is. But I've seen some extremely clever politicians, like when it comes to their business, they are very, very astute businessmen. And nobody said that you can't be a clever businessman, because I think world over, when businessmen became politicians, they understood profit and loss. Unless you're a leftist politician, like you only looked at loss. Or you're a right-wing politician where you thought, you only put in because, you're doing something overarching good for the society. Where both are bad. See, you need to have some business sense. That's why they said you can't have any more the CMs or PMs. You have to have a kind of a CEO who looks at like profit, loss, productivity, investment, even manpower investment, and gains. Growth and all these things, which most of the politicians don't understand at all, because they think abhivriddhi, development. What development? You've been building roads for 5,000, 6,000 years. You still have not learnt, because you don't want to learn how to, build good roads, because good roads are not in your favor. You understand? People still are voting for somebody. Abhivriddhi, they are put to do development, so I'll vote for them. Without actually even giving a moment's thought, what development has happened till now? That means basically they are saying that, we are going to make a very profitable, plan, which is only good for the contractors, the engineers, the officers, the politicians, and the other bureaucrats, correct?
Yeah.
Or people, and also the people who support them. It's not in favor of what development has been happening that you see that, there is some transformational thing that's happened. Correct. You still have to take about 1 hour to travel from Sanjay Nagar to Jayanagar.
Yeah.
Maybe about 2 decades ago, it took lesser time.
Yeah.
So what have you done with technology? What have you done with the fastest cars and, helicopter rides? And tomorrow, even if you have drones, which carry you and put you in a different place, I'm sure you'll still come out 1 hour late.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing about development is absolutely skewed. It is only these empty words used by politicians only to their advantage. You want the system to be corrupt.
We want the system.
Yes, because it doesn't work in your favor otherwise. The richer you are, whether you go to a temple, whether you want to meet in any other religion also, like you're well-to-do, people will meet you before anybody else. Nobody is interested in meeting a poor, useless person. You understand? There's advantage in being richer. There's advantage in being powerful. There's advantage in flouting norms, in flashing your wealth.
At the outset, there are a lot of people who don't appear rich, neither they are rich, but
Everybody knows that they are rich.
No, but the work has to be done, so they pay up money.
No, I'm saying that, it's just not. Sometimes even by paying money that you can't get the work done. It's about the amount of money, whether you're paying more.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So here, people I'll tell you, like when even naming a child, some people have named their children starting with the letters of the alphabet that come before, at least in the 10th.
Yeah.
So that your children get the favor of being in the front.
Acha.
You understand? So if you have a name starting with an A, like even in a ballot, you belong to a party or whatever, that's of no use. So that if you're AAP, like it's the first name, so that everybody says that AAP is always on top. You got it?
Yeah.
So, see, I'm telling you, some people are clever.
Right.
You understand? But the whole world is not in favor of the non-intelligent, unintelligent person. And I think that that's one of the reasons why societies are not interested in educating everybody. You understand? You have to be clever. Even to make money, you have to be clever. To be able to use money, also you have to be clever.
Yeah.
You understand? See, some people, I've seen such total disregard to the common man. In the sense, the common man can wait, the common man can suffer, the common man can only grumble, and the common man will still vote for you. You understand? Like you see in Bangalore, everywhere, nobody has voted in the kind of numbers that people should have.
Correct.
The people who complain the most are Bangaloreans.
Yeah.
The people who don't vote are Bangaloreans. And the people who have a theory about, every scenario post-counting are also Bangaloreans. You understand?
Yeah.
And I'm sure wherever they go, they also get their jobs done because they don't even have to. And first of all, these days, because you have the internet, you have most of the things that can be done. Because of your education and the advantage you have had, because of your parents who have had more money, you can get your jobs done better there also. So the poor and the disadvantaged person is disadvantaged everywhere. And the system says, no, we are actually working for the poor. Working for the poor to remain poor. Working for the poor to remain disadvantaged. Working for the poor to be beaten and enslaved to the system. That's what you're working for. That's what when you say, I'm working for the poor.
So this is more, you could say it's a both social and a moral.
It's a social problem.
Not a moral.
Social problem. Poverty has always been a social problem. It is not a financial problem.
Corruption. Is it a
Yeah,
social problem?
because corruption is what? In the sense, see, I'll tell you. Even when a politician comes, first of all, even if you have to take about 100 people, there have been very, very few stray incidents of, some politician without money having won. But maybe even after that, they've made money. That's a different. But even in this election, there have been politicians who perhaps had the qualification to, contest. I won't say win, but they were not able to contest because they've not had the money. Because money is like, I'm telling you, like you will have to run an office. You'll have to have your staff. You'll have to have some basic infrastructure. You'll have to travel. You need fuel. You need to take some people along. You need to give them breakfast. If they stay along with you, you need to give them lunch. You need to give them, evening snacks and sometimes dinner.
Tea.
If they stay longer, you may have to give them some other extra beverages also. Perhaps you'll have to take care of their expenses. Otherwise, they may ask you for some more money.
Yeah.
You want them to do the job. So even if you have about 20 people with you on an average every day, I think even if you spend about, 200 rupees per person, that's about, and your own expense, about 6,000 rupees a day, 1,80,000 rupees. It's almost about, how much? About 25 lakhs a year.
I'll come to that.
Just to be. And the bigger the leader you are, the more people, the more personal staff, the more expenses, more other things to do. And people wanting you to do things because people think that anyway that you've made money, that you can give money for their weddings, naming ceremony, and most importantly, everybody wants to have a, religious a temple or a mosque or something, some donations and all, and they think they have the right to demand because you made money in our name, so give it. And even if you don't have the money, you'll have to give the money because nobody will show you mercy that you became a leader, and if you have, why you have not made money.
So you're saying that electoral politics is not possible without you being rich enough or perhaps even being corrupt enough. I'll tell you that. I'll
I'm
counter
not
that.
saying rich enough. You can't, without you having the kind of voters who don't care about you not having money. But without not having money these days is understood as inefficiency.
Okay.
When you make money, they don't tell you that you have to make money only through corruption or misuse of power or that you're rich. They just say that you're not good enough. You understand? Why do you want?
For people to get you recognized, for example, a politician saying that I am contesting for the election, you vote for me, until that person goes there and, does the enough kind of canvassing or reaching out, the amount of people he has to gather, how will he even make his presence felt if he does not have enough money?
See, it's very unfortunate. See, the system, the whole electoral system, the conduct of the elections, I think that is a tragedy in this country. At least today, it is impossible for a good man without financial resources to even imagine. You understand?
Yeah.
Contesting, let alone winning. So that means you automatically say that you have to have some advantages. In the sense, you have to be powerful as far as with the power of your community, and with money, and with the right connections. You got it? What if 4 people have the same kind of money? And who do you give the seat to? Then maybe you're looking for some other qualities. But the first basic thing is that you need to have the money.
Right.
Because I think that, this is not democracy at all. What kind of democracy is it? It's, say, for example, if a party can't get somebody to win, just on the basis of that person's ability to be a good legislator, why do people need that party at all? If you're given a ticket on the basis of your community, on the basis of how much money you have, on the basis of how many people you can pull together with your muscle power or money power or whatever, then why go with the party? You can go with any party. That's why people leave parties and go to any party, because they think that wherever they are, they can win. Then what is this whole thing about ideology? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if a party is so powerful, it should be able to pick anybody from the street. You got it? From any community. And can show to the world that, look, we got them to win. I mean, no party is an exception. Even BJP has done, maybe has given opportunities to people who are financially weak, but they looked at the background, the communal background, the caste background. The same thing with Congress, the same thing with JDS. Maybe AAP is experimenting, knowing very well that they are experimenting. You got it?
Yeah. So I was telling you that there are 2 ways corruption is happening. One, the government officers or the government servants are asking money. Can that be stopped first? Or people, common people, offering money for their work to be done, can that be stopped first?
In the present day world, there is a lot of awareness about corruption as such. Even if you are indulging in corruption or not, I think people are aware of what is corruption to a great extent. So asking money is also difficult and giving money is also difficult.
Right.
You have to be extremely clever to make money. I've heard of officers who have, opened accounts abroad so that the money actually gets deposited to somebody else's account.
The Swiss bank.
So there is, not anymore. I don't think Swiss bank is the easy suspect.
Okay.
And so I don't think that people are foolish to go and put their money in Swiss bank anymore. People have found extremely complex roots, so things cannot be traced back to them. At the same time, people can also not offer, because even the most corrupt officer can take offense when you offer money and can make you feel like you committed the biggest blunder by offering money. So you have to actually go through the due process. You need to know that who you have to catch.
So there is a due process.
Yeah, there is a due process
Right.
for corruption. So how do you catch this? How do you make anybody accountable? Because it is better than a system. It is a system within a system which has literally superseded the system. You understand? I'm sure a government system also is inferior to this corruption system.
Okay.
You got it? Like there are more people who are spending more time about how to make this corruption system foolproof. You got it? And people have been yielding to that system. If somebody looks like a very tough officer, they go around looking for a person who is close to that officer, some relative, some stooge, some agent. You got it? Some officer subordinate to that officer and so on, because they always believe there is always a weakness in every person.
Right.
There is a chink in the armor. You need to find out where the chink is. You got it? So to be able to say that I will eradicate corruption is impossible because you are talking about such a well-established system which is favored by all other systems also. You understand? Many people come to that position only because that position will allow them to make money. And everybody knows that that position will actually yield money to the officer and the superiors of that officer, and also can help people get their jobs done if at all they can give money.
Okay.
So how are you going to? Because, like when Mr. Modi came to power, I think in the beginning, some of the officers that you could not even carry your bag because people would check to find out whether you had money. I heard that all that is gone now.
Okay.
Because it's not possible. Even the BJP needs money. Even if Mr. Modi doesn't want it directly, I don't think that the system can work.
Right.
You understand? And how many people are actually punished? How many bureaucrats have gone behind bars for corruption? Everybody knows that literally every officer is corrupt in one way or the other. There are very few non-corrupt officers. But then how many officers have you punished? How many officers have you made examples of? How much money that was raided actually was taken away and paid to the government or used for some public works? You got it? In many cases, the money was also returned back.
Right.
You got it? How many people were hanged or flogged? Nothing anywhere in the world.
So
You got it?
if this kind of enforcement comes,
Even like, in Pakistan, like the case of corruption against Imran Khan, and the court says that it's illegal to have arrested him. I mean, it could have been totally a political case, but world over, people have been trying. There are very, very few cases of people who indulged in corruption and people who paid the price. That happens very rarely. And even in India, you should be extremely unfortunate to be caught.
right.
Maybe the judge was the wrong person. That's all it is. That's where it begins and ends. It's not because you're more or less corrupt. It's because you unfortunately were sentenced in a court where the judge was not in your favor. That's all it is. So I think that if the courts become tough, so moto, they take up cases and they just want to make an example. For that, the courts have to be clean.
Yeah.
The judges have to be clean.
Judiciary is also not to...
And it's not sufficient to just have one prime minister who talks against corruption. He should be intolerant in exemplifying, his intolerance to corruption. You understand?
Right.
Like he doesn't want to talk to people who have been stained by allegations of corruption. You have to obviously see it. You understand that he doesn't want to meet them. That he doesn't want to shake hands with them. He doesn't want to, do namaskara to them. then at least people won't even want to have a stain on themselves. Forget about whether you've indulged or not. But like they say, there is no smoke without fire. So if you have had that allegation, perhaps you've done at least something. So you have to clean your name. You clear your name. Still a lot of people have that stain, the taint. You understand? It's not that they are convicted, but most of the people, the case is going on. But in the same case, you can't just charge somebody with corruption without the person directly being involved in corruption. So you have to first of all define what is corruption.
Okay.
You can't just call somebody corrupt just because you want to call the person corrupt. Corruption need not be monetary. It could be even favoring somebody so that you're causing loss to the society, the citizens, and the nation or the system.
Right.
You understand? You're disadvantaging, the needy or the nation, or that's a breach of trust because you've been elected. You've been given a position to do something. You've done something which basically goes against the very grain of,
But that comes with a lot of subjectivity. It's very easy.
So that's what I'm trying to say. That is where it becomes all advantageous to a corrupt person. Because you can go and fight. Because ultimately you have to prove, first of all, that it was a corrupt thing.
Right.
Just, violating, you could say that human error. It was a mistake.
Right.
Do you understand? See, I could give it to a friend. If I know the friend will do a better job than somebody else, who perhaps is getting only because of some qualification there, I may be able to say that I gave it to this person because I knew that I could get it done well. And I could prove it to the world because I knew this guy was more qualified in executing it than the other person who just had the necessary qualifications, whereas he was not somebody who could have executed it. So how do you call me corrupt? You understand? So this corruption of convenience, the allegation of corruption for political convenience has to stop.
Okay.
Largely people are not bothered unless they suffered. See, for example, in Karnataka today, it's because of some COVID things. If the common man had not suffered, if the common man doesn't see that so many people are living well, but he is suffering, then the common man would have not bothered about. He won't be bothered about, you making money in some bullet train project. Rafale.
Yeah.
Rafale was not even an issue. Because the common man didn't even understand. Because it's too far away from Rafale. Bofors was, but it was only about for the first time people were hearing that, okay, you made money, you're bad, you did something. That was the first time. But now people have become insensitive. They've lost they've asensitive rather. They've lost the sensitivity.
So, awareness creation about corruption.
No.
Is not enough?
I think you have to make examples.
Okay.
And then people will understand it's being done for them. You understand?
Right.
There are so many things that I think, first of all, the system has to be a little favorable to the common man.
Can you highlight it?
The common man should feel that the system is for him. He is not outside the system, only spoken about in a condescending manner. Like you're not doing a favor. Oh, I have to do something for the poor, as if they're a different community altogether. They're part and parcel of the system.
Correct.
You're doing everything else. For example, you're building a bullet train. You may say that, I'll charge a higher, ticket fare and I will give that. What money will you spend? You're still doing all these things. You built an airport, the Terminal 2, which is also leaking. I thought it was such a gross waste of money.
Right.
You don't need an airport like that for just for the passengers to travel and stay there just for about. Most people don't even stay there for more than a half an hour or maybe 1 hour. Why do you need an airport like that? The same, how much land was taken for that? You got 5,000 acres of land. Do you really require I'm sure the whole world has been having airports for a very long time.
Yeah.
They've not had these swanky airports, but they still had such a well-organized airline system. You understand, like they say in Canada, the nose ring becomes heavier than the nose.
Right.
You understand? For what purpose then you wear the nose ring? It's like the body. The whole body is starved, and only the face has the makeup. You got it. I'm not saying that you can't have a good airport, but it's colossal waste of money,
Right.
which can be used. People struggle for getting an ambulance to even take their ill relatives and
Hospital.
and close ones. People can't get a hearse to carry the dead body from the hospital to the burial ground.
Correct.
They can't afford things. And people have stopped asking the government because they know they won't get it. They are not bothered about who comes to power because they're just enjoying this whole election because they are called in, because some of them can get some money. And most people, it doesn't matter to them. Do you think if it really mattered, if the person whom they voted for went into another party, they would have even sat and watched it? They would have finished him off.
So it doesn't matter to the
It
count.
doesn't, because the system has been so indifferent to them. They are on the same lines.
So what has,
Vice versa. Huh?
what has to be done now?
What has to be done is that there should be a system that is in favor of the common man, not just talk about the common man.
Okay.
The rich people can do it anyway. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The rich people can do it anyway. You can't compare the rich of the US or Europe or somewhere else to the rich of India. The rich of India are exploitative. The billionaire of India is billionaire most often because of ill-gotten means. Because, he pays pittance to his maid, pittance to his driver, pittance to the people who build his bungalows, pittance to people who sweep his street. And that kind of wealth is pelf.
Okay.
You understand? But in the US, like you pay by the hour, you pay $50, $100 and things like that. And still if you're a billionaire, actually you are a real billionaire there.
Right.
And you pay such taxes too. Here, what is that chasm,
Divide.
the divide? It's brutal. And every day you celebrate some fellow having made billions, some person having made some 100 crores and things like that. You're just, rubbing it in, and you're also misleading them completely. You're telling them they're not all right by earning about 10,000 rupees. You're disturbing them. You're taking them away. You're deflecting them from their focus. Right. At least they were happy before because that was a different world. But even in like the shitty, channels that you have also, that you have all these, perverted stories about and people making money. When you know very well that 99% of the people can't earn that money. Why are you giving the stories to them? What will happen of them? How many people may be getting into wrong businesses just because they also think that they can make money too?
Right.
You got it?
Yeah. So, sir, one final word. If some person says that I want to rise above this, I want to rise above a corrupt society, contribute in a better sense, not be called corrupt or involve myself in the corrupt.
First of all, you should have self-respect.
Okay.
I think if you don't respect yourself enough, if you don't respect yourself enough, you become corrupt.
Right.
Because you don't mind people thinking of you as corrupt. Corruption is depletion of your personality. It is a rot. It's like a rotten fruit. Most of it may be perfect, but you still have a hole with a worm in it. That's what a corrupt person is. You understand? You should be ashamed of yourself. If you can be anything, but you can't be corrupt. Right. Particularly if you're in a public
office.
Because there is a covenant, there is a trust. You got it? You're there for a certain reason. You got it? You pay the politicians well if they are. Pay the MLAs well too.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong in that. Give them cars, give them stuff, give them anything. But they are not supposed to eat or profit from what rightfully has to go to the people. You got it? We have to perhaps make some examples by hanging some people. We have to. Corruption. Oh, if I am found guilty, hang me. All politicians will say that, no, very well, there is no law that...
That's quite brutal.
That
if you put it across.
To put no, because what politicians said, if I am found guilty, hang me, because they know very well there is no law like that. They know that never they'll be hanged, because there is no law like that. How can they be so ignorant of law that they can say something? Because there itself they are fooling. You should have a law. You hang people for all. I don't know. I think it's the biggest thing. If you actually destroy a society, the conscience of a society, to make the whole society weak, morally weak, which is worse than even killing one person.
Right.
Understand? If you kill one person, you just kill that one person, you hurt the family. You understand? But when you're corrupt and you survive, you thrive, you're not just evil. You have to be dispensed with. And laws have to be made like that.
Correct.
Thanks.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for those insightful words. I think people also have got a very clear idea, and they should try to read between the lines and try to understand what's going wrong in the society. Again, thank you for enumerating these facts to the people.